Mabuhay! This is BSSW2D Group 2 presentation on the subject social work and social change. And on this day, we will be going to present to you our given topic, which is the feminist and LGBTI plus movements. But before anything else, I would like to share something to you, that the feminist movement has been dismantling the belief that our sex and gender should define our roles in society, and has been fighting the inherent gender-based discrimination and violence resulting from that belief for more than a century. This is where the feminist and LGBTI plus movements meet. The ill treatment of women in our society and the ill treatment of LGBTI plus person have the same root cause. It's all about the sex and gender, and they should be tackled jointly. So listen very well. But before we proceed to the former presentation, I would like to meet you all, my group mates, the presenters. Question number 1. Illustrate how societies are transformed because of mass movement that took place over the course of history and civilization.
Nowadays, societies are gradually changing synchronously as it modifies to the modern world. LGBTQ+ and feminist movements are one of the mass movements emerging and have come out of existence after years beneath the darkness. Possibly, one of the visible changes is the slowly disappearance of stereotypical gender norms, such as women should feel forced to be submissive and be feminine, while men should be aggressive in order to be accepted and be masculine as well. As these movements persist to come up and attain more support from society, wherein women's access to healthcare and education has been improved, and access to reproductive rights are starting to gain consideration. Moreover, violence against women is being voiced out, and the all-in-all well-being of humankind have become better. Furthermore, LGBTQ+ shares a similar social impact to the feminist movement, although it has a lot to give. There has been a cultural change in approval of people and the high respect in people's personal decisions on their gender orientation.
As our contemporary society gradually remain applicable and dynamic, there are still difficulties that this movement faced up until now. For instance, the LGBTQ faces the struggle for minimizing homophobic people, which prevent them from having their right as a human, or in another possibility, humiliate them. In the contrary, feminist movement involved in sexual harassment, an equal salary system for men, and even domestic violence as well. As a student, we have limited access to what we can do to promote these movements. Youth is the core of social change, wherein there is a positive approach as the youth grow up with similarity and sexual orientation around them being the norm. For now, the only thing young people can do is to speak up for what is right and do things according to their strength or potentiality. Thank you.
Number 2. Explain the role that mass movements play in transforming society through the parliaments of the streets, civil disobedience, and by the armed revolution.
We observe and aware that there are millions lesbians, gays, bisexual, transgender, and intersex around the world. These people are protesting inside the roads, beyond the globe, to fight their rights against discriminations, violence, and abuse. Also, they are standing up for a life lived in dignity, peace, and respect, because they are still humans who deserve to be respected and appreciated. But then, LGBTI issues have burst into standard media, which has been composed of different root causes of violence and discriminations against LGBTI people, such as the continues to be abundance of misinterpretations and misinformed assumptions throughout sexual orientation, gender identity, and sexual characteristics. The absence of comprehensions on LGBTI issues are noticeable and hard to suppress, and sometimes the members of our own society was the one who have been internalized these conclusions. One of the common type of view is that if people read or heard about sexual orientation and gender identity, they will surmise immediately that the topic is LGBTI person. This statement is understandable and normal because it falls short of recognizing that every human being has a sexual orientation and a gender identity. But on the other hand, on these grounds, this terminology was made to fight against discrimination. Sexual orientations give a response to the questions within who we feel sexually attracted and with whom we want to have an intimate or romantic relationship. On the contrary, our gender identity is character how we experience our own sense of being gendered individual. It does not concern other whether we are lesbians, gay, bisexual, transgender, gender diverse, man or woman, or have an indigenous gender identity, because everybody has a gender identity.
It is common sense to realize that a single social media post won't change long-standing societal standards. Whether we like it or not, we have been enslaved by these conventions for so long that to be our true selves and own up to preferring instead to do what society expects us to do. To be heard, one must collect individuals who have similar interests and ideas, and it is tragic to think that it required parliamentary street rallies, civil disobedience, and violent revolution to shake society free of its rules. We grew up in a frightening and technologically advanced world. We grew up in a frightening and modern society where everyone's fate had already been decided by societal conventions before they were born. This is a simple yet groundbreaking explanation of how mass movements are gradually reshaping society. There is a ray of hope for those who are afraid of being different, isolated, and possibly discarded by the norms if they deviate from the norm. Because people are the ones who form the society's standards. Those who support these movements have no choice but to recognize them, which eventually lead to change. Many people believe that the person who started it should finish it. Every ending, on the other hand, is a fresh beginning. We are the history of the new revolution, and we are the evolution.
Next one, link and integrate various theories of social change and development perspective in analyzing the social, political, cultural, and economic context of the contemporary society.
Feminist theory. Feminist theory is a major branch within sociology that shifts its assumption, analytic lens, and topical focus away from the male viewpoint and experience toward that of women. In doing so, feminist theory shines a light on the social problems, trends, and issues that are otherwise overlooked and misidentified by the historical dominant male perspective within the social theory. Gender inequality. Feminist theories that focuses on the gender inequality recognize that women's education and inexperience of social situations are not only different but also unequal to. Liberal feminists argue that women have the same capacity as men for moral reasoning and agency, but that patriarchy, particularly the sexist division of labor, has historically denied women the opportunity to express and practice this reasoning. Gender oppression. Theories of gender oppression go further than theories of gender difference and gender inequality by arguing that not only are women different from or unequal to men, but that they are actively oppressed, subordinated, and even abused by men. Many people incorrectly believe that feminist theory focuses exclusively on girls and women, and that it is not an inherent goal of promoting the superiority of women over men. In reality, feminist theory has always been about viewing the social world in a way that illuminates the forces that create and support inequality, oppression, and injustice, and in doing so promotes this pursuit of equality and justice.
Good day everyone, this is me Fredja Anbalanza from Bachelor of Science of Social Work, a second year student, Section D. And today I will be discussing about the theories of social change. So we have here some theories of social change. First, the evolutionary theories. Based on the assumptions that societies gradually change from simple beginnings into even more complex forms. So let's just say that evolution starts at the bottom before going at the top. For example, if before the LGBTs are not be accepted in the society, but nowadays they are now slowly accepting the right of the LGBTs. Even in our family before, diba? Especially fathers, they are not allowing their sons to become a gay, maybe because they don't want to have any gender in their family. Just a boy and a girl only. Therefore, there is a little support for the hypothesis that homosexuality evolved by the strategy that favors the reproductive success. Parents at times control their children's reproductive decisions, and at times they encourage children in homosexual behavior. Auguste Comte believed that human societies evolve in a nonlinear way that is one of the line of development. According to them, social change as positive and beneficial to them, the evolutionary process implied that societies would necessarily reach new and higher levels of civilizations. In theory, humans who are exclusively attracted to others of the same sex should be unlikely to produce many biological children. So any genes that predispose people to homosexuality would rarely be passed on to future generations. Yet, same-sex attraction is widespread in humans, and research suggests that it is partly genetic. So next is the cyclical theories. Cyclical is used to describe things that are regularly patterned or that occur in regular intervals. Cyclical theories of social change focus on the rise and fall of civilizations, attempting to discover and account for these patterns of growth and decay. Since today's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender youth come out at a younger age, and public support for LGBT concerns has increased why are LGBT adolescents still at such a high risk of mental illness? In the past decades, researchers have found risk and protection aspects for mental health, pointing to promising protection, intervention, and therapy strategies. Legal and policy achievements have made it possible for improvements in LGBT youth mental health services and practices. Another is the conflict theory. The equilibrium theories of social change emphasizes the stabilizing processes at work in social system, which highlights the forces producing instability, struggle, and social disorganization. The knowledge offered by the researchers and theories is frequently used to threaten particular groups such as the LGBT and feminists. Many people doubt research and theory because of such alarming perspectives on research and theory, believing that such efforts simply serve to maintain unpopular policies. Despite the reality that many parts of life can be explained by theoretical perceptions or study, this belief remains. To make a more accurate assessment of a situation, one must be well informed. Marriage, particularly gay marriage, have been a source of debate. And in order to understand and have sensible ideas on the subject, one must first understand marriage and family, and as well as the theories that affect scientific research. The last theory of social change is the functionalist or dynamic theories. In the middle decades of 20th century, a number of American sociologists shifted their attention from social dynamics to social change to social stability. Change is not something that disturbs the social equilibrium, but is something that alters the states of equilibrium so that a qualitatively new equilibrium results. They may come from outside the society through contact to other societies. They may also come from inside the society through adjustments that must be made to resolve strains with the systems. In simple, society's institutions are undifferentiated, that is, a single institution serves many functions. The family performs reproductive, socializing, educational, economic, recreational, and other functions. A process of differentiation takes place when the society becomes more and more complex. And that is all about the theories of social change.
And the last question: articulate our appreciation on the importance of social movements in transforming societies.
The feminist movement has been dismantling the belief that our sex and gender should define our roles in society, and offers hope that the lives of women across the world will see a change. So these are the importance of feminist movement in transforming societies. First, these movements help the women in society to raise their voice against discrimination. Second, improvements in women's access to healthcare, reproductive rights, and protection from violence. Third, called attention to exploitation and oppression of women globally. Fourth, became a political struggle to end sexist oppression and an effort to end all oppression. Fifth, affirm the kinship structure of the family while challenging the dominant structure. And lastly, help maintain the cultural basis of group oppression.
This is where feminist and LGBT movements meet. The ill treatment of women in our societies and the ill treatment of LGBT persons have the same root cause. It is all about sex and gender, and they should be tackled
jointly. The LGBT movements advocate for LGBT persons in society. They aims to bring about equality and improve the human rights situations of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and intersex, or what we call LGBTI, persons in society. Provide opportunities for people to engage in making society a place in which everyone, whatever their sexual orientations or gender identity, can live free from hatred, discrimination, and prejudice. They strive to inclusive and open in work to challenge discrimination and to consult, involve, and inform the individuals and the communities that they serve.
Okay, that's all for today. Thank you for being here today. I really appreciate that you find time to listen in our presentation. May God bless us all and keep safe. See you soon.